Hey everybody, welcome to One Pot One Pan. Today we have a very classic Korean recipe. It's called daeji samgyeopsal bulgogi, kind of same thing like that. Basically it's a spicy, sweet kind of marinade for pork. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is make our marinade for our pork. So very simple ingredients. We have garlic, ginger, soy sauce, honey, and sesame seed oil. And we're just gonna marinate it for about maybe 20-30 minutes. All right, so first thing we need to do is chop our garlic. You just wanna take the ends out because you don't wanna cook that, it gets bitter. Just wanna crush it. You don't have to be too fancy. Give it a good chop. And you wanna just go on ahead and stick it in your bowl. So it's about 2 garlics. 2 garlics is a lot, but Korean people, they love their garlic. So you usually overdo it on the garlic. I like garlic, so I don't mind. Now this is a really big piece of ginger, so I'll probably just use half of this. So cut it into nice little matchsticks. Then you line it all up, and then you just kind of cut into tiny little miniature cubes. So when it cooks, it'll get nice and sweet. All right. Because we're using soy sauce, we don't need a lot of salt, so I'm just gonna use a small pinch of salt, soy sauce, probably like 1.5 tablespoons. It's Korean spoon, so it's probably like a big tablespoon. It's 1, 2, and then we have our sesame seed oil, really strong, so only want like probably it's like 1 tablespoon. And honey, we're just going to add probably 1 tablespoon as well. Glug glug. This is for like a single serving, so if you want to add in more, you can add in more depending on how much meat you use. But I'm using about 150 grams of pork, so that should be plenty. And then our red pepper paste. This gives it its texture, and most of the flavor comes from here. You want 2 big spoons of red pepper paste, or AKA gochujang. All you have to do is kind of mix it up. You want to mix it up nicely, get it nice and smooth. Because our pork is kind of like in long strips, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of like chop it up into little bite-sized fixtures, so it's easy to eat. It's going to shrink, so these look big right now, but once you cook it, it's gonna get a lot smaller. All right, just stick that on up in here, and just mix it. You want to let it marinate in the fridge for about 20-30 minutes, and then you can start cooking. And we're gonna cook this with onions and green onions and serve it over rice and kimchi. Yum. You can do it with your hands, but then I don't want my hands to get all red and yucky. All right, so I'll see you in 20 minutes. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my pork out of the fridge. Ta-da! Looks good, right? Kind of like thickened up a little bit. I washed my board because I cut the pork on it. Usually you're supposed to use like a plastic cutting board, but I like just always my wooden cutting board. So I have my pan on. It's on full blast, trying to heat it up, get it very hot. You don't want to put in cold meat on a cold pan or it just soaks up all the oil and gets nasty. To go along with our pork, we're going to chop some onions and some green onions to give it a nice little contrast of texture. So you want these kind of like rough, big chops, you know, so it doesn't really matter. You want rough chop for your onions. I'm just gonna go ahead and just do that. Pow, yeah, olive oil. Not traditionally Korean, but you know, modern days. Trying to eat healthy now. Swish it around, make sure you give it a nice coat. Let's lower the heat to medium high. Our pan's hot enough. Be careful, it might spit a little bit. Just get it all in there. Your onions. And because you're cooking with pork, you want to make sure that you cook it all the way. Medium well to well done is usually the best, depending on how fresh your pork is. I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to just go ahead and cook it well done. All right, so just let it cook. It still needs a little bit more time to cook. I think it's going to take probably a total amount of time, about 6 to 7 minutes, because my onions are the good indicator. They're still white. They need to be more like opaque or translucent. So just let it cook a little bit more. Keep waiting. It smells really good though. You can smell all the chili pepper, you can smell the sweetness of the honey, garlic, onions, filling up there, you see the smoke? Yeah, a little bit spicy. Koreans love spicy food too, so. I'm not very good at eating spicy food, but once I started eating this, I can't get enough of it. Okay, so I've been cooking the pork about 3 minutes now. I'm gonna go ahead and make my rice. I have my 2-minute microwave rice. Pop it into my microwave. 2 minutes. Okay, so our rice is about a minute away. I'm gonna go ahead and add in our green onions because they only take a minute to cook, and just get it in there. Pork looks good. Onions look just about done. Yep, about 1 minute away. I'm just waiting for the rice now. All right, our rice is ready, so let's go ahead and take it out. Okay, it's already perfectly nice in a little bowl, so I'm just gonna flip it over here. Let it sit for a second so it'll just fall out. Gonna turn off the heat to my pork. Give it one last little shake. You have a little bit of char bits. That's all goodness right there, yummy. All right, looks done. I'm gonna take it off the heat now. And let's get ready to plate. To garnish this, I'm going to use some of my ginger, and you gotta cut it into like super thin strips because ginger is so sweet and refreshing. It will cut through the grease and oil really nicely. I'm gonna give it a little bit more color. I'm gonna cut some green onions as well. Got my green onion here. It's probably gonna use the green part of it. And I'm just gonna use it into little strips. Again, just to match the garnish of the ginger. Let's check out our rice. Ta-da, perfect, right? All right, so let's go ahead and plate. I'm just gonna put a little bit on the bottom here so you know what you're eating. And I'm also gonna put a little bit on top of the rice so the rice can soak up the goodness. Yeah, looks great. Okay, and then to garnish, got our little sticks of ginger. Put it like on top. And some of our green onions. Put it on top. Pow! And there you have it. Your daeji bulgogi with samgyeopsal, or spicy pork stir fry.